Hey guys, what's going on? Fred London here. You guys know what to do. As always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today we're talking about two different stories that I think are real good, so make sure you stick around, watch the whole thing. I think you'll enjoy. So, on to the first story, and as you can see, this is about Kalidou Koulibaly and why he'd be the perfect solution to Chelsea's defensive woes, and there's a bit of a transfer talk within this article as well. So, this goes on to sort of highlight how on any given day, Chelsea could ship 4 or 5 goals, even though we might score just as many at the other end, which makes it exciting to watch, but it's obviously not the most sustainable way to watch football, which is very true. You know, we've seen this season we'd concede a lot, but we'd also score a fair few, so it was a very weird sort of dynamic. A lot of the blame has been thrown at Kepa Arrizabalaga, who has undoubtedly underperformed this year, but the truth is he hasn't been helped out by his centre-backs, and that is very true. Rudiger, Christensen, Fikayo and Kurt Zouma have all struggled at times and left their goalkeeper exposed, and that's why the Blues have been chasing a big money signing to bolster their defence. Back in March, 90 Minute revealed that Chelsea are interested in Napoli's Kalidou Koulibaly, who would be a perfect man to solve Lampard's defensive woes. And of course, against Bayern Munich we got thumped 3-0, probably not going to get through the second leg of that one, but it goes on to talk about Koulibaly, who is obviously Senegalese, who will turn 29 in June, comes with 6 years of experience in the Serie A, has been a focal point of Napoli's title charges every year. There's no doubt in his talent, but that's what makes him perfect and how he would fit in Stamford Bridge. As a ball-playing centre-back who is dominant both aerially and on the ground, he's everything that Lampard wants in a defender. Koulibaly can kick-start attacks with his long passing, but is equally as comfortable finding Jorginho with a shorter pass, a technique which worked flawlessly for Napoli in the 17-18 season. Alongside his natural creativity, Koulibaly comes with a unique blend of agility and physicality which would work perfectly in the Premier League, the similar style to Liverpool's Van Dijk, who is arguably the finest centre-back around these days. Not only does he play like Van Dijk, but he could have the same influence on the pitch as the Dutchman, and of course we see that comparison a lot, that Koulibaly can be, you know, the next Van Dijk in the league, which I think is kind of true. I think he fits a lot of the same mould that Van Dijk does have. So of course you can read through this article. I will of course have all my sources linked in the description. It does mention that we were interested in March. If we check here, back in March, Chelsea are interested in Koulibaly, so it's possible we'll see a move from this transfer window. It's not a given, but it's very possible. We can take a look at his Who Scored page here. As you can see, 28 years old, very tall, very strong. In the Champions League this season, 6 appearances with 7.43 average rating. If we take a look at defensive stats, 2.2 tackles, 1.5 interceptions, 0.7 fouls, 5.2 clearances, 1.3 dribbles, 1.5 blocks. Those are all per game, and that is very good. That average rating is absolutely insane. That's really high for 6 games in the Champions League. In the Serie A, 14 appearances. So you can see here again, all of these stats, all pretty solid all round, with a 6.78 average rating. And of course, he plays centre-back. And his strengths are passing, he's very good at that. Strong at tackling and at blocking the ball. Weaknesses can be discipline at times. As you can see here, racks up a few yellow cards in his matches. And his style players, he likes to tackle and he likes to commit fouls often. So that's why you see these yellow cards towards these recent games. That's how those have happened. But yeah, basically, do I think we should get Koulibaly? Absolutely. Of course, he will be 29 in the summer, so we are buying an aging player, but I don't think that's as much of a problem for centre-backs. I think they can, sure, they do need pace, but you pair him alongside someone like Fikayo Tomori, who has a lot of pace, who is a lot younger. He can be, you know, the solid figure in our defence that, like Van Dijk did at Liverpool, man. Like you saw, like Lovren and Matip and Gomez and all the other players around him were elevated because of how good Van Dijk was. I think we could see a similar effect at Chelsea, and I very much want this deal to happen. I'm not sure what the fee would be for it because obviously he's aging and all that sort of stuff, but I want to see it happen. I'd love us. Koulibaly would be an amazing signing for us. Sure, he turns 30, you know, a year after we buy him, but centre-backs, they can go a little longer. I feel like, you know, pace isn't as much of an issue. He can just be a massive blockade for the attackers to try and get through. His tackling's great, his passing is great. I just think this guy is such an essential signing if we can go for him, and I think we should. And then on to the next article, and that is mystery around £75 million bid for Chelsea transfer target as Frank Lampard reveals double injury boost. So the first section of that, 75 million bid, Chelsea target, like what's happened there? And this is about Victor Osimhen. As you can see, Chelsea are rumoured to be behind a mystery offer for the Lille frontman. Reports from France suggest the Blues could have made an €85 million bid for Lille striker Victor Osimhen. This publication claimed that the Ligue 1 club received the mega money from an unnamed club, citing Chelsea's interest in the Nigerian. So the article basically says, look, this bid's happened, they've received the offer, we're not going to say the name of the club, but Chelsea are interested in this player. That's basically what's happened there, and of course that is leading everyone to think, they haven't directly said Chelsea have made the bid, but they're saying random bids happened, Chelsea are interested in this guy, by the way, so make from that what you will. And very interesting, if we are going all out for Victor Osimhen, like, that is a pretty insane signing to be making. The 21-year-old has scored 18 times in 30 appearances this season. I'll get onto his stats later on, don't worry. However, before the Blues fans get excited, it's suggested that the story could originate from the player's club or agent, aimed at generating some hype around the player and encouraging larger bids from elsewhere. And that is basically the end of that section of the article, but there is more to go through, so stick with me. So what do I think of this situation? I think it is very possible that this is them saying, a random club has put a massive bid in for this player. It's a bit suspicious that there's no name tied to it, because that does sound a little bit towards the side of, well, if someone else is willing to offer £75 million, then maybe, say Manchester City are looking at him, or, a random other club, they should say, well, damn, okay, maybe if they're going in for him at that price, we need to get in, we want Victor Osimhen, so let's put our bid in as well at the same price, It's drumming up a bit of interest, setting the standard for the price, and it could be a bit of that. It's very possible, though, that this is, Chelsea they're doing the deal privately, because we know that Chelsea have said this season, we're doing our deals privately, anyone who leaks any sort of deal, you're getting a fine, you're in trouble, so maybe Chelsea are trying to keep it quiet, and this way, it is sort of still kept quiet. Maybe someone spoke out about something to their friend, and then it got passed along, and now this newspaper knows about it, and then you've got the situation of, well, the person who leaked it, they aren't in trouble because they aren't named to be the one that leaked it, and Chelsea have actually gone in for him with a £75 million bid, because we know that we are trying to be mysterious, we're trying to be silent when it comes to these transfers this summer. So that's the only thing that makes me think, damn, is this actually Chelsea behind the scenes just putting in massive bids, and us fans are trying to claw out some information, and maybe we just got a piece of that, so that's my other thoughts of it. We'll see how it progresses. Am I excited for Victor Osimhen if we get him? Let's just take a look at his stats. 21 years old, Ligue 1 25 appearances so far with 13 goals, 4 assists, a 7.14 average rating. So in general, that is very similar to Tammy's haul this season. I think he has got 13 goals in the league and a few assists as well, I think. So he's currently around Tammy's level, so maybe having two players that are around that level, it kind of makes sense to have one that's better than the other. But in terms of goal contribution so far, they're pretty equal. Maybe having these guys fighting for the starting spot against each other would be a really good thing, because they're around the same age as well. Tammy's a little older, but I could see this partnership working well. And the Champions League, 5 appearances with 2 goals involved there, with a 6.74 average rating. This guy seems pretty good. His strengths are finishing and aerial duels. Weaknesses can be offside awareness, which that screams Morata to me, so I beg he's not that bad with it. Holding on to the ball and passing. So passing I'd like to see increased, and holding on to the ball. And of course, offside awareness, because if he gets anything like Morata did towards the end of his time with us, I will be so angry. And his style of play is he likes to do flick-ons, play short passes, does not dive into tackles, and commits fouls often. And then here, you can see his recent games, grabbing a goal, 1 every 3 games, somewhere about there. If you consider that bulk of games, that probably averages out to about a goal every 3 games, somewhere about there. So, do I think we should sign him? Yes. £75 million is a lot. That makes me think, there's only going to be one big transfer this summer, if there even is one big transfer this summer. And if we get him, if we get Coutinho, if we get Jadon Sancho, it spells the end for each of the other deals, there's only going to be one of these big ones. So if it becomes Victor Osimhen, Coutinho, or Sancho, I want Sancho. first to that list, but I'm very happy to get Victor Osimhen. You know, if Sancho just isn't attainable at the moment, and maybe he stays at Dortmund for a year and then next year we try it, maybe. But if this is the case, and you know, I'm happy with it. I think I like Victor Osimhen. He seems very good. Let's move further down into the article just to go over a few of the updates from Lampard in that interview the other day. Basically talking about fitness updates on our injured players, and he goes to say Lampard is optimistic about the duo making a comeback. That's talking about Kante and Loftus-Cheek. We know they both had injuries at the moment. If the season commences, whenever a restart comes, we want him, Kante, in the best shape. We want Ruben, who has missed the whole season, in his best shape. Recently, we have just tried to get those players a bit fitter. Of course, if and when we get the chance to return to full training, we can hopefully get them to where we want them to be. So that is one positive when it comes to this whole lockdown sort of stuff, is that we have the time for our injured players to come back, and we've probably had the worst injuries this season in the Premier League. I don't think that's very biased to say. I think that's very true. We've had so many of our first team players out for such a long time, and it's going to be amazing for us to have a full fit squad at some point. I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully if the season does resume, we're going to have all these players that are fit, ready to go. We'll have Pulisic back, we'll have Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Kante. You know, we've got so many players that were out injured. Though Kante and Ruben were probably two of my most missed ones, because Kante is so essential in that midfield, and at times it felt like bringing on Barkley just wasn't doing anything for us, and a player like Ruben would be beautiful in that scenario. So can't wait for both of them to be back. That is going to be the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.